What's the best advice that someone's given you?
It's automatically a no if you don't ask. Like, you have to ask, and if you don't ask, it's automatically a no.
You're listening to A Life Creative, real conversations with artists, designers, and other creatives about how they build, sustain, and evolve their careers.
Home Agency was founded by Christine Lavigne in 2013 and is a full-service production company and artist management agency with offices in New York, Paris, Tokyo, and Seoul. Home Agency represents well-respected and established artists and is also devoted to recognizing and nurturing young talent. Home Agency's production division has worked with clients such as Louis Vuitton, Michael Kors, Vogue, and Nike.
So Mel, what was the reason that you wanted to have Christine on?
Christine is sort of creative adjacent. You know, she is the support for creatives. And I think it's important to sort of showcase about what a creative agency can do for a creative person, especially if you're not a person who promotes himself or knows the finance part of the business, rates, things like that, contracts.
And I don't think most people, when you're starting out, you don't always necessarily know all the things that they actually do for you or can do for you. And I think it's probably different with different people, but you know, you think, oh, they just get me work, but it's kind of beyond that. And I think it'll be interesting to talk to her about how she supports creative people and how she looks for creative people. So if you're in that situation, you can understand what a rep can do for you, but you can also understand how you need to kind of prep yourself to become someone that they want to represent.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good listen.
Great.
Hey, Christine, thank you for coming onto the show today.
Hi, Mel. Thank you for the invitation and having me.
We wanted to make this podcast very well-rounded in the fact that all the support that goes into creative people, and you're certainly one of those, having an agency that reps people and nurtures talent and things like that. So
it can sometimes be a bit of a mystery for people who don't know.
Sure.
So I think it might be nice to kind of give a little.
You packed up and moved from LA to New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what made you do that?
I came to New York for a friend's wedding. This couple, who the woman is actually now a stylist, more so for like film. She lives in Los Angeles, Deborah LeClaire, and her then husband, Stephen LeClaire, got married in New York because he is British and she's from LA. And so they thought meeting in the middle would be kind of nice for both families. So I came out here for an extended weekend, went to her wedding, and just felt like this is home.
That you belonged.
I belonged here. There was just such a mix of people. I felt very comfortable. So that spurred me to then be okay, I'm going to move to New York.
Yeah.
And I did so with a couple girlfriends.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you have to talk them into it, or was it a...
No, we all kind of were like, yeah, let's do it. We were young. I don't know.
Shared roommates, small flat.
One studio apartment.
Paid your dues.
I first got here, it was, there ended up being 6 of us the first week I got here in this studio apartment.
Oh my God.
It was supposed to be the 3 girls, but then, one girl's best friend came. Her boyfriend came. I had showed up. The other girl randomly met up with her friend, or saw her friend in like Union Square. And then this Brazilian girl came and was staying with us. So I would literally sit in the bathroom to get away from everybody. I would just sit in the tub and read or whatever.
So you basically paid your dues.
I paid my dues. Yeah, I did.
And what did you do when you first got here? How did you...
The first night I got here, I was like, okay, let's go out. And we went to this club, and I got in for free. I said, oh, do you have club courtesy? And they're like, yeah. I don't remember which club it was. But and then the guy at the door, who I'm still friends with now, was like, yeah, we have that. And I said, oh, I'm from this club in Los Angeles. And I just thought, there's this club that I used to go to called Flaming Colossus. And it was a little bit exclusive. And
you used that, basically.
I used it, even though I didn't work there. I just went there. I used it. I got in. I was in the restroom, and this girl came up to me and she said, "Oh, I'm casting for this hotel." And I said, "I don't even know what that means." And she's like, "Oh, this new hotel is opening. It's called the Royalton, and the owners are Steve Rubel and Ian Schrager, and go meet this guy tomorrow at like 11. His name is Steven, I think his name was." And so that was my first job, was working at the Royalton.
And did you think the term like casting for a hotel was a weird?
Yeah, I always remembered it. I always remembered it.
Yeah.
And the person turned out to be Jenny Lumet, who I'd see around, you know what I mean, at different clubs and whatnot. So I was friendly and, kind of remembered her from
So you were at the front desk?
I was not at the front desk because I had just gotten there. And they said, "Oh, you'd be great as a concierge, but you just moved here. We're going to start you answering the phones." So I was answering the phones. Steve Rubel would call in all the time and check you on like how you answered the phone, if you were nice, what your phone manner was. And then he'd come back to say hello. So he's like, "Oh yeah, you just got here from, Los Angeles, and I have to take you out. You could come out, we'll go out to dinner," which I thought was so nice. So within the first 2 weeks,
did you feel naive, or did you just feel like, you know what,
I just kind of felt
I can deal with it. I'm from LA.
This is just what it was like
About.
in New York. Like, I just thought these things probably
Happen to
happened
people.
all the time. But in LA, you grew up around
Celebrity, so it's not
So I have no thing where I'm like starstruck with anybody. And so, the first couple weeks, he was like, "Oh, we went to Canal Bar." I went there with him. And he was like, "Oh, meet my friends. This is one of my girls. This is Carolina and Ronaldo and Bianca." And I ended up sitting at this table having a
Was
dinner.
it just a surreal kind of like,
It was
what the hell
surreal,
is
but I
going-
definitely knew Studio 54.
Yeah, that
I
time,
definitely
yeah.
knew about it, even though it was before my time.
But then you had other jobs that, we worked at Indochine and Canal Bar,
Yes.
Kinkea, which was my
Yes.
first date with my husband,
Oh,
FYI.
nice. Maybe I sat you.
Maybe you sat us, yeah.
Maybe I was like screaming out your name.
As the hostess?
Yes.
You were a hostess at all three of those?
Yeah.
And in that time period, I think...
Well, I was waitressing.
And you were waitressing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was waitressing.
And are you friends with any of the people that you work with? Because it is a generational thing when you come to New York and you're all doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
And everyone kind of grows into their careers and, you remember people. And I think that's a good lesson to know that the contacts that you make in your first jobs are going to affect you.
I have a lot of the same friends. Some of the people that I met, I have one of my closest, bestest, love him to death. His name is Michael DePerno, and he owns a store in Connecticut. I think it's near New Preston, called Plain Goods.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I love Plain Goods.
Yeah. Yes. And we became friends because it was our first waiting job, basically, at 150 Worcester. And I have other friends that I've met and still am in contact with, still friends with, and I still see them. One of my friends that I waitress with, Numa Tuazon, is a caterer, and so I'm still friendly with her.
Yeah.
Some of the other people that I've waited tables with became kind of guided into the fashion industry.
Yeah.
I have, Monica Hansen-Teal. She was working at Calvin Klein.
Yeah.
May Au, she's at Ford Models now. We're still very good friends. So I still see
in
those
contact.
people.
I think that's so important.
Yeah.
It's just so important.
You
You
were
never
through
know
the
where
trenches.
people are going to go.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And then did they help you navigate a little bit into like the next step of what you were doing potentially? Or how did you
Not
kind of get into the
necessarily.
next step?
I just kind of fell into different areas.
Well,
How did you fall into
publicity.
publicity?
Publicity?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't want to work in restaurants. I had this opportunity to I was being asked to, I was interviewing to manage Chanterelle.
Yeah.
And then also I was being interviewed to manage, and I don't remember his name now, but he has like 4 restaurants all the way uptown. And I just thought, I don't know if I want to keep going in this industry. And I thought to myself, well, I love film. I love, music. So I started interning. I quit my job at restaurants and thought, I'm just going to try now. If I don't try now, I'll probably kind of stay in that path.
Did you have to save up money? Did you tip the whole thing?
I did have some money stashed away.
You just get more roommates.
Yeah, exactly.
I was living with a boyfriend at the time. I tried, music. I worked for David Byrne as an assistant. I worked at this production company as an intern, reading scripts, and they would pay me to read some scripts for them. But my boyfriend's friend worked at a PR firm, Jason Weinberg and Associates, and her name was Jennifer Breton. She hired me as her assistant. So that was my entree into PR for celebrity. And so I'm still friends with all of the people that I worked with.
And trained you.
And trained me. And, I love them.
Yeah.
They're crazy. And
back then it was the era of Molly Ringwald and Lily Taylor and when
Michael Rappaport and Mekhi Phifer and Lorenz Tate, and I worked with Veronica Webb and Famke Janssen, and it was a fun kind of group of celebs.
And very different by today's standards
different.
Of PR before
it was almost the
internet.
beginning. Yeah, it was almost the beginning of
no social media.
No social media. It was Page Six. It was paparazzi. It was the beginning of, let's say, Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
Kind of just being a club girl.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And her being in the gossip pages.
And was it about PR releases? Like you would literally write
and we would fax
the release.
Everything. Like every single thing was faxed.
Yeah.
I
hated the fax machine.
For days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember when we first got computers, and my boss, Jennifer Breton, was very handy. She's so smart. She was wiring the whole place so that we each got internet, but it was very kind of jerry-rigged,
Yeah.
It wasn't, let's say, an electrician, And I just remember
With dial-up?
Stealing cable.
with dial-up. Yeah. The fax machine was our lifeline.
And how long did you do PR for?
I think I was doing it for about 2 years, over 2 years. I'm a little foggy with how long I actually was working.
Were you disenfranchised by it after a while, or no?
I really did not like other publicists outside of our, publicity firm. They were very
dog eat dog
mean,
kind of thing.
Yeah. They were very power hungry. They weren't the nicest.
Yeah.
I always think is it like a fear-based culture? Like
Yes,
that I always feel like when people work in
absolutely.
fear-based cultures,
Yes.
it's really hard to find
It was a time
and
of
pressure.
Pat Kingsley, who repped, Tom Cruise. She was kind of the biggest entity
in PR.
And so it's that type of, they pressured people, to have, let's say, a younger star get in or have stories. And I think the whole, let's say, the underpinnings of it were a little icky.
But then
to
you
me,
pivoted.
I did.
You kind of talent management was on your radar because you probably had to deal with some people at some point.
You definitely were talking to your talent every day. You were with them. You went to junkets with them.
Right.
You planned out a whole PR campaign, and it was a lot of production because you're getting the cars, you're scheduling with the studio, you're figuring out their schedule, where they're going, if they're going to Sundance with a film or to Los Angeles for a junket there, the upfronts, all of those things. So you're really doing a very production heavy work. And you're also planning ahead because you're looking at movie releases and exactly when they were going to come out. And so that really laid some foundation for me. And one of the publicists that I worked with, Adam Nelson, had a client, David LaChapelle, the photographer, and his agent, Stephen Pranica at Creative Exchange Agency, was looking to hire. And so I didn't have any experience, but he said,
In fashion.
Nothing. In fashion. And he said, yeah, but you know all of these people in fashion, you know who every makeup artist is, and you're always like, oh, we should get this photographer to shoot our client, and I was always looking at fashion magazines
and portfolios probably at the time.
Portfolios, and so he said, oh, you'd be perfect. And so I didn't have experience, but I was hired there, and it was great.
And did you sort of just learn everything, or they were just really patient?
I learned everything the hard way.
Yeah.
I was cold calling people that I probably should not have been cold calling.
But it might have been to your advantage because you weren't scared. Right?
Yeah. I wasn't scared. I just kind of forged forward.
Hi, is Mr. De Niro there?
Yeah, exactly.
Robert, listen.
Yes.
I like that blind kind of, if you don't know, you don't know.
Naivete.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So when we're getting into the talent management side of it now, so I feel like it'd be really good to break down exactly, because I don't know that everybody knows exactly what a talent manager does and what types of people you represent and all that sort of thing.
So
on your roster.
Yes.
Yeah, on my roster we represent photographers, hair, makeup, stylists. We have a movement director. We have a creative
art
director / creative producer. We have a music composer. So manicurists. So we really have a wide range of talent. The talent that basically encompasses a photo shoot.
So you have those types of people, and then what do you do for those people?
So we help them with their portfolios, the aesthetic.
And as far as portfolios today,
yes,
it's not traditionally, I think, when we all graduate, it's not a printed thing anymore. It's not even a card, right?
No.
It's all PDFs.
It's all PDFs.
JPEGs and social media accounts.
It's social media accounts, Instagram accounts.
Yeah.
A lot. Maybe for photographers, they might do a book, a personal project.
Like a lookbook.
Which I think is a really nice way to show your work. And doing personal work, you have the freedom to kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah. So that's the first step, is probably to look at someone's work and to sort of edit it in a way that's saleable to what
they want. So we have a lot of different PDFs for different clients. Beauty, if you have like a still life photographer, you're focusing on watches or lay downs, jewelry or beauty, lipsticks, fragrances. And so each photographer, speaking of photographers, you're going to want to showcase a little bit of in studio, on location.
Whether you can light or not. Natural,
you definitely have to have your lighting, which is your signature.
Yeah.
Along with, let's say if you're shooting fashion, a lot of it is how you pose your model. I think a lot of people use that as their signature. You could kind of tell, or I could tell the difference between Steven Meisel and Patrick Demarchelier and Arthur Elgort, as opposed to David Sims or whatnot. So you really have your signature in the tone, let's say, of your photograph, the lighting, the pose, and your teams that you use.
Oh, teams by not
Teams
necessarily
by
the
sense of, the
your
photographer
assistants.
with their assistants, but also
techs and
who the stylist
Digitex
is that they're
and-
working with, and who their hair and makeup are on their team.
Yeah.
And a lot of that creative, let's say, the finished product is a product of
of
teamwork.
that and that rapport that people have
And
with
the
each other.
rapport, exactly.
Yeah.
So you work on portfolio development with them. You
Portfolio
work in-
development, we work on trying to connect them with clients, and those clients could be advertising the brand directly. If it's a photographer, trying to introduce them to the right stylists. There's a lot of production companies that do, let's say, art buying,
Yeah.
and will also be producing the shoots. So you want to be introducing them to a lot of different production companies, having them work with them so
Yeah.
they see how this photographer works, maybe on an editorial.
Yeah.
And it's really about that camaraderie, I think, of a team. And there's different facets of it. Like, you have to be good, of course, but you also have to be nice. You have to be, a team player. And that's one of the things that you have to tick off in, let's say, my list of people that I would take on. They have to kind of be a bit of the package.
Yeah. So then once the person has their portfolio
Yeah.
and then you bring your client list with your expertise and like, I think you'd be great for this client.
Yeah.
From that point, the booking of that is done by your agency.
Yes.
You go to this person and say, you know
Yeah.
what? So-and-so is really interested in your work and there's
Yeah.
a shoot for this. You take care of oftentimes
The
negotiation, which is an aspect that a lot of creatives aren't
Enjoy.
or comfortable with. Like,
Yeah.
rates are just
It's
one of those
hard
things. I hate
to-
talk about money.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of people don't like to talk about money.
No.
And sometimes they don't know what rates should be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes they're underselling themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the knowledge that we have of working with clients previously.
That you're worth this.
That you're worth this.
Yeah.
This is where their budgets are landing, how much their fees
Yep.
should or could be, and also all the little details of making sure, let's say, they own their own equipment and you kind of give them a bit of advice.
The
of,
production aspect of
yeah.
it. Yeah.
You could ostensibly be, billing for your digital equipment. And if you own your own digital equipment.
Yeah.
And making sure that, there is that extra
Prop advances.
advances.
Which is generally, as a
Certificate
stylist.
of insurance.
The insurance,
all of
I was
those
just going to
things.
say that.
Yeah.
Is all that stuff. All those logistic things that are a pain in the ass sometimes. And if you don't like to do it or you don't keep up with it, I think that's a very valuable tool that a rep
And
actually
if you have
gives.
a good, producer within your company, that person has long-standing relationships with different studios, so they can negotiate, deals with the studios that you're going to rent out, and for equipment and what they can and cannot get. That maybe a person on their own might not necessarily, be
Yeah.
privy to the information.
Yeah.
So we help with that
And billing as well.
and billing as well.
Which is huge.
We
Yeah.
invoice everything. We chase down the client to get payment.
Yes.
Which is a big thing.
It's a big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nowadays-
net 30, net 60, net 90 during COVID.
Well, it's-
that was a little bit of a
I've been
funky
seeing a
thing.
lot of people posting about the fact that if you go to your the hairdresser, you're paying them up front.
Yeah.
You're paying them right after they get the work done. And, our industry, for whatever reason, there's this lag time
Yeah.
of it was net 30, but now it seems to be net 60 is the norm. Some people are net 90.
Yeah.
And you're carrying those costs.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you're not getting an advance or enough of an advance on your expenses,
it could pile up on a credit
You're
card.
not making what you're supposed to be making.
Yeah.
Exactly, because you're paying interest rates on those things. And, you're carrying that. And I think that why isn't our industry getting paid just right after a job is done? Or getting, I like to try to put an advance forward for all of the expenses plus, part of the fee.
Yeah. And it's different for every client. It's different. It
is.
really is. Some people say, would you like an advance? Some people don't even bother. Some people. And I remember I was talking to
is very important.
Yeah. And I talked to a stylist who was starting freelancing, and she said, did you have any advice? And I said, you know what? Make sure you have like $5,000 in your checking account, because you're going to have to float. You're going to have to float props if you're not getting these advances, and all the other little things, cab rides, messengers, like all that stuff is on you, and you need to have sort of have comfortable.
Yeah.
This is a great moment to take a short break. Alive Creative is now on YouTube. Search Alive Creative on YouTube or head to youtube.com/Alive Creative Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any episodes. So now that we have a better understanding of exactly what a talent agent does, we kind of want to backtrack and get a little bit of sense of how you progressed from publicity to now owning your own talent agency.
Okay. So I think I mentioned I went and worked at Creative Exchange Agency from PR. And after that, one of the guys who worked there, Tyler Copeland, one of his best friends, his name is Tim Howard, and he was working at Art and Commerce.
Okay, which is a huge
agency. It's one of the first to kind of start that artist representation. They had the archive of Robert Mapplethorpe, and
still today a lot of major photographers and stylists.
Absolutely. So he was leaving the industry to go to be a writer. He recommended me to be somebody who could potentially take his position. And so I went and met with the head of styling, hair, and makeup, Leslie Sweeney, and there were 3 partners then. It was Jimmy Moffitt, Ann Kennedy, and Leslie Sweeney. So I met with Leslie, and we really got along so well. And I did love my job at Creative Exchange Agency, and I loved my boss, Stephen Pranica, who I'm still friends with today. He's a great guy, really great agent. And so, it was a little bit more monetary at that time to kind of move up and get, a higher salary. So I will admit that.
I mean, girls got to eat.
A girl's got to eat. But I did really enjoy my time at the agency.
And learned a lot.
And I learned a lot. And so when I went to Art and Commerce, all the cold calls that I was making that would basically go nowhere, people would actually reply back and answer me.
Because of the name.
So for me, it was like shooting fish in a barrel. I was like just, calling, getting answers, pitching people.
Like, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and getting things, and really pushing that forward, because that was just like I've always just worked, with whatever job, because I never got in there knowing anything, and I had to really try to step up and do all that. So from Art and Commerce, which I was there for 8 years, which was amazing. I loved the agency. They had sold to a big, I guess it was IMG group at that time. And it didn't feel so, let's say, mom and pop. And there were other things that went along with that. And so a lot of agents felt a bit the same way. We didn't actually hear it from the owners of the agency when they sold, and we read it in Women's Wear Daily. So it was a little bit of a shock at that time to you felt a bit betrayed. From there, a lot of the different agents were considering leaving due to this, kind of thing
Shift.
where we were bought by a bigger corporation, that had a modeling agency and all that. And then I had, met somebody at the time. He's French. He lived in Paris. And so I really wanted to kind of be able to travel there. And I did travel for the shows. Probably I wanted to travel for the shows. Nobody really ever did it. The only other person who did it I work with now.
Mm-hmm. To oversee talent.
And go, and you're backstage and you're meeting with the clients directly. So then from there, I left, and one of the other agents started her own agency called A Collective Shift, Jay Choi, and she was representing Inez and Vinood at that time. And then it gave me the freedom to travel and be in Paris. And let's say this was before remote work was happening, but you had your BlackBerry or your cell phone,
I love BlackBerry.
I love
your Motorola.
my BlackBerry so much. There was this freedom, that you could be walking around the Louvre and be answering emails.
Yeah.
And I worked all the time, constantly. And so I left there and went and worked for the Collective Shift next. And I was there for almost 5 years. And from there, I opened my own agency.
What was the catalyst to open your...
Well, we had two different styles of working.
Okay.
I was heading the hair, makeup, styling. So we just had two different styles of working. I think she was a great agent for Inez and Vinood. She kind of wanted to represent everybody that worked with Inez and Vinood. And I felt a bit stifled of not being able to take on artists. I had to really fight to take on, a young artist or,
Because they just weren't proved to...
Because, yeah. So from there, I thought, I don't want to work for anybody else. And I kind of really want to curate an agency. And really, that thing was always in my head of having it curated of, you have different levels, let's say, and you have to round it out with different types of people that have a range of different clients. And then also it's inspiring to work with different people at different stages in their career. I think that's exciting. We didn't really do it at Art and Commerce.
Because you had to be established.
They were very, very well established artists, which are amazing to work with.
Yeah.
But...
And you also had to have your own clients. Like, who are you bringing to this, representation as well? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
it was
tough.
just a different style.
Well, and an approach that you wanted to take. And I think the name of your company alone is like home.
Yeah.
So then when you're looking for talent, in your bio, I really love that you like to foster new talent and also existing talent, and also to sort of mold people into something maybe they're not doing or something new. Like, how do you distinguishing people? Because I can imagine a lot of fashion stylists were like, I want representation,
Yeah.
And how do you distinguish it? Is it just something about them, or is it...
it's definitely their aesthetic and their work that's attractive. There's a lot of people that I've met that I've ended up representing that, they were assisting some of the hair or
so
makeup.
Generationally.
Yeah, generationally. Yep. And when, you kind of recognize that they have like say for a hairstylist, they have a great knowledge of kind of texture and they could kind of do everything, from like a basic to really that
fantasy.
Old school way of kind of doing the hair.
Dressing.
The teasing.
You know what I mean? Like the prep
Right.
of doing it a certain way. And I think that also their personality has a lot to do with it. And so initially it's visually. You kind of see the images. Nowadays you see most of the images on social media. And you kind of take a look and you're like, oh, I love kind of their take on like this season and this,
Yeah.
this style.
Or you like a photographer's
design.
light just because it's a little bit different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The lighting and their tone, and you really kind of look at it and think, oh, they've got like a different perspective.
On the roster, how would it divide as far as how many hairstylists, how many would you say? Because you have several offices.
Yes.
So they're different teams, they're
Yes.
different clients within that office.
Yes.
And I think we asked before, the market of Asia is sort of on its own. European
Yes.
might be on its own. And sometimes they don't cross over and sometimes they do.
Yes, sometimes they do.
So I think that's sort of fascinating as well.
Yeah.
That
I noticed a need that I think everybody always wanted some Asian clients, especially way back in the day. There would be the Korean cash client. They'd come over with a lot of cash. You'd go, they'd either give it to you on set. Yeah. Or, you go to somebody's hotel and you pick up this basically this duffel bag of cash,
Can we get a car?
Yeah. I'm half Japanese. That market always fascinated me. There was always these brilliant, Japanese assistant makeup artists or hairstylists. And I always just felt like I really want people to kind of look at them and really be like, have them a little bit higher up,
Yeah.
And the one, I actually opened my office for one hairstylist that I represented out of Tokyo. His name was Camo, and he was so inspiring. He would do everything. I mean, I'll show you pictures, but he worked with Chanel, and I think he just brought, I wasn't representing him at that time, but he would just bring like all these sheets of paper, just big sheets of white paper, and he cut everything out and made these like elaborate.
Oh, I think I've had swipe of his.
Like
Dresses.
wigs? Like it's
like
almost
headdresses.
Yeah, like
made out of paper,
like Marie Antoinette style.
Exactly.
Type. Yes. I know exactly
and
what you're talking about.
he'd braid, hair and make crowns. And he worked with this designer, this brand called Undercover, and he would just do so many amazing different things. I mean, he'd even do nails.
Yeah.
And he would cut things out.
Did you
and
approach
apply
him,
them.
or how
I
was
was
that fruition of?
introduced to him by this agency, Caliste, that I shared a couple artists with.
Okay.
So he said, "Oh, would you want to represent Camo in the U.S.?" So we
And
met.
that's separate. You could do that as
It's
far
separate,
as.
yeah. I mean, I tend to want to have people globally
Yeah.
because it makes more sense to me, especially if I have an office in Paris
Yeah.
and everywhere. But that's initially that was the start of my office in Tokyo, was for Camo. And unfortunately, he passed away.
Oh no.
Yeah, right when I got my official Japanese stamp, for my agency. Yeah, so it was bittersweet to open the agency, and he, was
Yeah.
not part of it, but I think his spirit was there for me of kind of forging forward.
That there are other talented
That
people
there's so many talents that I've noticed. I was introduced to a producer who's from South Korea, from Seoul, through my manicurist Jin Soon Choi, who is like amazing, supportive, has amazing taste. And so I was introduced to Sue, and so she has, let's say, an affiliate. I didn't open it in terms of like me going to South Korea and Seoul and filling out all the paperwork and opening the bank account like I did in Paris, like I did in Tokyo, because it's very difficult.
Yeah,
and I
can imagine.
I think those two cities just took it all out of me. To be frank. Like there's Paris,
French bureaucracy.
French
That is
administrative work. I thought, if I could do this, Tokyo, fine.
Yeah.
And Tokyo just said, hold my beer. Because it was
Intense.
challenging. It
Wow.
was intense. Yeah. But in terms of finding talent, I have noticed a lot of people who were assisting photographers that my talent were
It's a
working
great
with.
pool.
And do you kind of keep an eye on certain people when you think they're kind of
definitely-
young, but you feel like you know that they need to grow into it a little
Which
bit?
is the advantage of going to the shoot to
Yes.
oversee, because you see the teams.
And being backstage and watching people and how they are,
Who
how
gets it.
who gets
How
it,
they behave with
how they
people.
behave.
Yeah.
It's like they can be creative, but
Serious.
let's say
Under pressure.
stay in their
They
lane.
know their audience.
They're fast.
Yeah. These are all the things that Marcy and I have talked about when we're hiring assistants. We kind of know immediately whether they get it or not in the first.
Yeah.
You know, if someone, I was saying that it's a difference when someone doesn't know how to do something and is willing to learn.
Yes.
I'd rather someone say, I'm a quick study.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
not know it than to fake it and then have to redo it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a trait that I love.
Yeah.
That I
Yeah.
can distinguish very early on.
Yeah.
Very early on.
And if you had to give advice to somebody who was looking for an agent that was young, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would say if you're approaching an agent and you're emailing somebody, keep it very succinct of what you're saying. Don't ask a question of, how can I get in your agency? Something like that. You know? I think you have to do some research and just think, okay, I'm going to present myself. Who am I? Where am I from?
The groundwork.
The groundwork. Maybe you assisted somebody, maybe you didn't, and you said, I have been doing this on my own. These are some of the clients that I have been working with, but really they have to be clients.
Yeah. And be honest when they're not.
And be honest when they're not.
Like when they're, this is an image that I worked on that I assisted. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And do you kind of want to have an idea of where they want to go to? Like also
Well,
like,
I
or
think
not necessarily, or you work on that with
I
them?
mean, you could kind of work after you meet them.
Yeah.
And you kind of try to get a sense of the direction. And a lot of people have the same direction, which is fine.
Yeah.
But you know, the self-assuredness of them, and when you're approaching an agent, send in the body of an email your work, just a smattering of a couple photos that they could take a look at.
And you're a creative person, you know,
Yeah.
that groundwork of editing your work, especially on social media where Instagram
Yes.
it's a portfolio
It's an
and
aesthetic.
and it's free.
Yeah, and
You know-
it's a creative, you know, thing that we're all doing.
Yeah.
So you should have something in there where you are editing your own work and kind of curating your own work to be shown.
Before it's even shown to you.
But you have to have something in you that wants to do that, because it is when you are shooting a story, it's a storyboard.
Yeah.
You know, you are creating those images in the order in which they should be seen.
Yeah. The
and
photo
so-
Something that Stephen Johnson said, you know, only show the work in your portfolio
that you want to do.
that you
Yes.
want to do. Don't just because you did a shoot for Walmart doesn't
Yeah.
mean you're going to actually show it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Show work that you're like, I'm proud of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, inspiring to me, and show that work and put it in the body of the email. I don't like clicking on links and going into a PDF or a whole thing. I think if you show, you know,
It's immediate. Right?
it's immediate.
You're-
Everything is just kind of right there for that person to see,
Mm-hmm.
and then they could discover more if they see something that they like.
Yeah.
But keep it short. Don't give a whole huge, let's say, 10 pages of, you know, what inspires
You don't want your magnum opus.
and, you know, and things like that.
What's the best advice that someone's given you?
It's automatically a no if you don't ask. Like, you have to ask, and if you don't ask, it's automatically a no.
That's a good one.
That is a good
Don't
one.
ask, don't get.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yes.
And I feel like you kind of did it, so you can just say pass. What is the best advice that you would give to somebody else?
that I would give to somebody else.
Run.
I think the best advice is show your work that's true to who you are and what you want to be, what kind of artist you want to be, where you want to go, what is inspiring. Just keep hold of that first kind of started you on a more creative path and career, and don't like give up that thing in you that's kind of, let's say, the creative side of you for money, for, just keep that in there and keep true to that, I think.
No, that's great advice.
That's very good advice. I think we should take a break right
Yep,
now.
let's take a quick break,
All
and then we'll
right.
come back and we'll talk about what's inspiring us this week.
All right, great.
So this is a section where we ask each other, Christine, what's inspiring us. It can be anything lately.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask Marcy first. And what do you have?
So one of the things I've been working on is things in my backyard. Last year I bought these metal chairs. They're like your basic black metal chair. And it was like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I played around with it's called Modern Masters Metal Effects paint. Have you heard of this? Mm-hmm. It's like an acrylic paint, but it actually has particles of copper in it. And I think they also have ones that have bronze as well. Mm-hmm. And you paint it on the surface of whatever it is, and then you spray this oxidizer and it patinas it to bronze or copper or whatever. So I did that on a metal pedestal that I bought. So I use that in the yard. I'm kind of inspired to do that to these chairs, thinking, it'd be so cool if they looked like they were bronze or copper.
Yeah. I've never heard of the product.
I'll put a link to it. It's cool. It's just like
What's
an acrylic
the spray?
paint. The spray is you buy the spray with it. I bet you if you Googled it, you could probably figure out if it's like vinegar and baking soda or something that would do like a rush patina. I don't know. Don't take my word for that. But it's basically whatever. Eventually it will patina itself, but it can take a while, so this speeds up the process. Okay. It might have salt in it too, because I think salt's probably one of those things.
That's cool.
But yeah, how about you?
I'm inspired this week by a news story that I recently read. The Gothamist published this article about the increase of art school applicants this year.
Inspiring.
And it's inspiring. It's an interesting thing about like why they're seeing this. And some of the people, like Pratt Institute is 64% increase. And one of the things that they're a little bit of, they're going into these sort of fine art careers because they're concerned about AI and how it's affecting other careers, academics, consulting, things like that, careers that will sort of change, and that fine art is sort of a stepping stone into doing something else. You don't necessarily have to be a fine artist. You could be a curator, a gallery owner, art teacher, and I think that basis, and I think that's for us and for what we do on this podcast, I think it's nice to hear.
Well, even just the idea that more people are going to be aware of more art careers that's one of the things that we think about the podcast that's so great is like, I didn't know about so many different types of careers. So hopefully
somebody tells you.
Yeah.
We had one guest who was told what a prop stylist did at the VIP room at the Roxy,
Right.
And it's just like, hey, you know what that is? And I think that's kind of amazing.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Now get me another drink. So, Christine, is there anything that's right now what's inspiring you?
Okay, well, you were talking about gardens.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to get my garden together. I've been a bit late on that.
I'm always a bit late with
really
the garden.
Late. But I really love these wildflower, everything in your yard.
Like the meadow look.
Like a meadow look where you don't necessarily have this grass that's cut, and maybe you just have pathways through your grass or stepping stones or something like that. But I kind of am really into that. And I follow a friend of mine is a landscape artist, Dean Riddle, and I always see that his gardens are very
that
way, yeah. And so I'm kind of leaning
Inspired by that.
Maybe I can rip up everything and just throw some seeds and
get a packet of seeds and
get a
good
packet
luck.
of seeds and
You guys are
Kinda
gardeners.
wild.
I am just not a
I'm
gardener.
not a gardener. I just
Chris
love
is the gardener. My husband is the
looking
gardener.
at it. So
Yeah, I love looking at it.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that meadow look. And a lot of people have been doing that. What did you call it? That sidewalk part?
Oh, the hell strip?
I've never
The hell
heard.
strip. It does not say
It
that.
sounds like
It's like the little
it sounds like
Yeah.
electrolysis.
Yeah.
it's the little strip of grass between the sidewalk and someone's
Yeah,
lawn.
and people
the
are,
street, actually.
are commandeering that and kind of taking out the grass and putting those
And
meadows
putting-
in it, which
yeah.
which in the area where we live,
It's
a lot of
almost
people.
like, do not walk.
That's fantastic. Christine, thank you so much for
You're
joining us.
welcome.
Yeah, this is
Thanks
such a
for
great
inviting
conversation.
me. Thank you so much.
I think it's really interesting for me because I don't know Christine, to hear her experience and how she was really self-trained in all of the jobs that she took. And she took that experience and parlayed it into the next thing that she was doing.
Yeah.
And she's able to kind of build on relationships to move her career along, which I think is really important.
And that is the key, because you move to New York, you meet a lot of people that are probably your age doing the work that you're doing, and that these people can go on to greater things. And you need to have those relationships in order to, as we found at the magazine, you know, people have gone on to do different things. And I think you have to remember that, remember who you're working with and what they're doing, and be really interested in it. But I do love the idea that, you know, she is self-taught in each of her jobs, even though she might have not known what to do. She's a fast learner, willing to sort of take on that risk and do it the best that she can, and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah. And I also think it's invaluable for people to understand if you are a stylist or a makeup artist and you're looking for an agent, to kind of get a sense of exactly what they do and what they can offer you and how you should best present yourself to them.
The groundwork, and work on the groundwork of your presentation.
For our listeners, if you want to learn more about Christine and Home Agency, be sure to check out the show notes as well as our website, www.alifecreativepod.com. We will have imagery and links to her social media and website.
Our producer is Chris Kangas. Our theme music was composed by Pierce McIntyre. And a special thanks to all the amazing people at East 10th House Studio.